Okay, so sorry that I had to stop the video for a second. So I got some square wire. So that's square. You can get that at like I buy my silver wire online at Sylvia Findings. You can also get it at Mark's Rock On if you want silver wire. A good place in Abbotsford to get non-silver wire is strung out on beads, or there might be other places that you might like to get your wire. So you got your square, and remember it was 8 inches around for this guy that we need. You just measure out on your ruler to the 8, and then you can make a little cut. So you want to do that 5 times, so you can use your piece that you already cut to measure against if you like. So there's 2 pieces. 3 pieces. 4. I'm gonna have just enough of this wire. 5 pieces of square. So you got 5 pieces of square, and I apologize for my dogs there in the background. You got 5 square, guys. And then you need some half round. Half round's really important, not regular round, because you'll be not very happy if you're dealing with real round. So half round has a flat side, and it's more shiny and flat, and then there's a more rounded side. And so sorry, I forgot to tell you the gauge of the wire. It's good to start with a thinner gauge, like at least 22 or 24 is maybe for earrings. 20 is pretty good, nice and easy. So the lower the number, so like 18 and 20, that's really thick. And then 22, 24, that's quite thin. So just think bigger number, smaller thing. It's kind of opposite to what you'd think. So I've got 22 gauge, that's what I like to use. 22 is good for heavier stones, 24 for lighter stones. I don't really like 18, I find it pretty difficult to bend and to maybe a really heavy stone, but I just don't really like to use 18 very much. So anyway, so that's, sorry to tell you, didn't tell you that. So the half round I'm using is 24 gauge, but you can use the same if you wanted, 22 and 22, but I like to use maybe a little bit finer. So you just want to find the flat side, and the round side. It can be a little tricky at first, but you make sure the round is up and the flat is down, and you're going to cut yourself at least 3 little pieces. So you could measure them. I usually just eyeball it, but about 3-inch pieces. So I'll cut 3 of those. You might need, depending on the size of your pendant, a teardrop is usually 3 of those pieces. So that's 3 3-inch half rounds, and then you already measured your big ones to go around, so that would be whatever the measurement of the stone plus an inch at least. So this case it was 8. So you're going to make sure you got your flat part of the wire down. So that's what I'm doing here, just making sure that the flat is down. So the flat part, because it's called half round, because it's shaped like a and then flat like that. So that's what you're looking for. So you'll start with your little needle nose, that's the most important ones, and you make a teeny little bend in the wire. Whoops, sorry. Can you see that? The bend? It's hard to focus, sorry. There. Makes like a teensy little bend or a hook. You can see it now. So you take your bundle of wires, and kind of the most important thing is to have them all gathered and flat, and try and get them all so that they're all kind of the same direction. None of them are twisted or tangled. You could use your nylon pliers to flatten and straighten, make sure. So kind of get them flat, hold it nice and flat like that. So see how they're nice and even there? Then you put your hook there, and then you can do 1 or 2, wraps around. So there you go. Whoops. There you go. So see, there's a couple wraps around. Then I would use my nylon pliers at this point just to make it nice and flat. See how the wire is all the same direction, nice and flat. And then you can just try and make sure I keep it in the screen. And then just keep wrapping it around the wire. Just around and around. And then one side is going to be, I usually choose, see how it's like a smiling face? It's already bent, so it's going to go around your stone. So end your wires, your half round wires, on the inside of that. So if you could imagine, the stone's going to sit and it's going to hide those little the ends of the wires. So you want to hide those. And then you can just take your snip and your nylon, just make sure it's nice and flat. And then you would want to maybe do a little squish down. So you can see now there's a little piece there, and look how nice and flat everything is. It's nice and gathered. It looks good. And then on the inside of the smile, that's where the two end pieces are, the little sharp bits. You wouldn't want those on the outside because they'd catch on your shirt or what have you. So you can do that 2 more times. So you take this guy, make a little hook. Let's see if you can see the hook. There it is. So make sure you put the inside, the end of the hook on the inside of the smile. Oops. And then I usually like to do at least 2 or 3 around before I come in with my nylon guys and squish it flat. Just squishing it flat really just helps keep these square wires in order too, because they can kind of get unruly. So just, and then I'm just kind of pulling and keeping it tight, just wrapping it around nice and even. Just don't let the half round overlap or anything, and keep going. And if there's a bit too long here, so then you want to cut it on the inside of the smile, like I was explaining. So that little tail, just cut that. So there's a little sharp bit, and there's the other end on the inside. You want to use your nylon pliers to squish it flat, and then just kind of smush it together. Push it like this with your fingers and the pliers, just to make it nice and tight. Okay, and then we want to do that 1 more time. So I will show you that. So we'll just make the hook, and then just remember. And you might be wondering, how do you know how far apart to space them? I try maybe to do a thumb print space apart for a cab like this size. When you're doing littler ones, obviously as you get more, you'll kind of get the feel of like how to do it. You could also use your string to put around your cab, and you could put a black dot where you think you might like these little guys, so you could draw them right on there and then lay it on here, and on the inside that no one's gonna see, you could make yourself a little Sharpie mark for when you're just starting out, because that would help you. Because for me, obviously I've been doing it a while, so I can eyeball it, but I understand that that's not always the case. So like I said, there's the inside. Okay, my hands are cold because I'm sitting outside. A little bit shaky. So just wrap it around. I'll try and keep it in the screen. So I kind of think it looks like a bit of a spider or something at this point. And then when you get to the end, all the ends are on the inside of the wire, like I showed you, and all the nice part is on the outside. So we'll make a nice smush with this. Let's push down. It's nice and get this nice and organized here. And now you have your wires more neatly bound, and make it a little easier for you to wrap up that cab. So then what I like to do is just kind of, for this one, I like to make sure that I like a symmetrical kind of look. So make your middle one, you want to put that kind of in the bottom, and then your two side ones, they do slide a bit, so you can adjust them as you go. You can put it on a flat surface or on your lap, and this is why you want to start with something round, nice and easy. Then you can just push the wire, it will start to bend. Push the wire there, push the wire there, and just kind of, see, you can just kind of bend it around, and you can move these just by pushing on them, or you can use your nylon pliers. At this point, I would make note where the bail is going to be. So right at the top, so I like to grab that area with my pliers and just kind of already have it in my pliers, so I'm ready to bend it. But see how the wires here are kind of getting all out of sorts. They're not all smooth and straight. They're kind of bending over and stuff, so make sure all the wires are just really neat and lined up. See how they're all flat, like before some of them were crossing over, like up here. We don't want that. So just make sure they stay tight and neat. You can put it back again, just make sure you close it up. Is that going to be in a good spot? It looks like. And then the same thing for this one. Got it. You can make a little bend where the bail is going to be. So now you could see what I was talking about there. So there's the shape of the stone. So when you close it up, it's going to look like that. An invisible necklace. And you should be able to just close it over your cab. Let's see. That better? Should be able to just close it over, and it should fit in there nicely, no gaps. It should sit in there like it would normally. If it's quite loose, you need to make these tighter. If it's too tight, then you need to you can use your mistake erasers to smooth out your bend and move your spot. And see how they're starting to scrimp, like wrinkle up there? Just want to keep them nice and smooth. Okay, so it's ready to close it up. For me, anyways, I'm ready with that. So you can take a piece of your half round. I would say double what you did with the small one. So I would do a 6-inch piece. And same deal. You want to make sure that the flat side is on the inside. Now, some people like to do this. They like to use a bit of Scotch tape at this point. So they would Scotch tape the cage to the stone. I don't personally do that, but I did find that quite easy to do when I was starting out. So I would take a piece of tape, just wrap it around, and then that would hold the stone in there while you're doing it, and it's not going to keep falling out on you. It doesn't really bother me, so I don't do that, but that's a little tip that you could do. So you want to make sure all 5 are good and together, not overlapping on this side. All 5 are good, not overlapping on this side, and you can hold them together nice and flat and even. Then you take your half round piece, and then you can start wrapping. I would do at least 3 around because you don't want it to spring apart on you. Then you can push that down, and then you want to use your trusty nylon pliers. And you might be wondering, what's the deal with the nylon? Like, why can't you just use a regular? These will scratch your wire, so they're going to make little marks and stuff, and you're not going to be happy with that. It's obviously fine if you don't have the nylon ones, but yeah, I did notice, like, as I got better, people would notice the it's called marring or scratching of the wire. No, sorry about my dog. So now there's an invisible cage. If you had Scotch tape, it would be in there, so you wouldn't have to worry about it. So at this point, you can start fixing your stone so it's not going to fall. Just make sure your these little guys are in the place you want them, because once you start bending the wire, they're going to start moving. So you want to bend these little tails down, so 5 on one side, 5 on the other, so they don't loosen up. So there you go. Should look like this. So you can see it almost kind of looks like a necklace at this point. So I like to start with the back to hold it in. So you take the outside one on the outside of the 5. So number 5 wire on the back. You take 1 of each and bend it in. Sorry about the dogs again. So there you go. That's going to hold it in the back so it's not going to fall backwards. And the same on the front. So you're going to take the number 1 wire and all the number 1s, pull on them with a fingernail, with a little tip of a chisel is good. Just be very careful you're not going to scratch your wire. That's why it's good to start with a bigger stone and a nice teardrop so it's nice and easy. There you go. You can see now that there's the 4 on the front and the 4 on the back, and that I can just do a little wiggle. That stone's not going anywhere. It's going to stay in there, and you can adjust them how you want as long as there's enough to hold the stone, and just give it a good wiggle because you don't want it moving. Okay, so at this point you could tighten this up nice and tight just with a 1 pinch. Get it nice and tight and ready for making the bail. So in this case there's 5 wires. I would like to pick wire number 3. So here's the top. So the front is wire number 1, number 2, number 3. So it's going to be the very middle wire. Oops. Let's see if I can count. There's 3. So you bend number 3 up. So 1 and 2 and 4 and 5 stay down, and on the other side same thing. So pick out wire number 3 and stand it up. So these are the other tails, so they'll be standing, so it'll look like this at this point. So 2 sticking up, number 3 the middle wire, and 1 and 2, 3 and 4 and 5 down. Okay, so there's your 2 sticks that you're going to make a bail with. So you can take your bail making pliers. Try and show you here. So you just grab it. So it's like that. So in this case, you're going to bend it backwards. So whichever size bail you want, that goes at the back of the stone. So this is the front, the smooth side. So this is going to have a big bail. It's a big pendant. So then you take, there you go. So that's the back of the pendant now. So you take the tails. You can just grab it at the base there, and then just bend them down the pliers. So now you're going to have 2 little sticks sticking straight down. And sorry about the dogs again. Then you take your needle nose, grab those 2 that are sticking down, and grab them both at the same time and make just kind of a 90-degree angle. So you might be able to see that, a 90-degree angle. Let me try and focus on that. Can you see the 90-degree? And then you can even bend these down if it's confusing you. These are your half-round tails, and this is your bail tail here. So you bent them, see the bend, 90 degrees, there's the circle for the bail. So you can take your pliers out. So now you've got a pretty nice, almost bail. So you want to lift these up a little, so you've got some room to work. Because you're going to close up the bail now. So you're going to take one of your tails, you can pick which one, it doesn't matter, of your half round that was going around this part of the wire. Pick one, doesn't matter. And then you take it, and then you make sure it goes over both of the bail 90-degree tails. Make sure they're going to be straight and they're not going to bend on you. So there you go. I got it there. So you can start to pull it in. You can see that they're going to tighten up. Then you can do 1 loop around the front. And then at this point, you see how the bail has closed up now. But see, these are crossing over. So just little things like that can just make your pendant just not look as nice. So you got the front. It's closed up. You could you could do it by hand, or you could use your needle nose pliers. So now you got your tails to finish it off. You can wrap it around those 90-degree angled tails that you made. So I do at least 3 because I want it to be so it's not going to come off. And then if you're going to cut it, you're going to cut it on the underside of the tails because that's going to be the best place for that sharp little end piece to end up so it doesn't touch or cut anybody. If it does stick out a little bit, you can trim it back, or you could use your little file and file the sharp end. At the end, I'll show you how you could go over it with your fingers and that, and you would make sure that there's no sharp part. So there is another tail. So you could at this point do a decorative accent, like if you wanted to wire maybe one of these, or you can just do the exact same thing, take it around the back and just 3 around the back. I'm going to do a little decorative thing so I can show you how I would do that. I just take one of these and then you can just go around it like that. Flat side down, round side up. Always. That's the nice side of the wire, is the round side up. And then you can go all the way to the end. This is totally optional what I'm doing right now. This is just kind of a decorative end. Otherwise you could just take that little half round tail, just wrap it around like I was doing. But this is a extra little something to make it look different. And if you did do this decorative thing, push that down so it's nice and tight. Okay, so now it's starting to get ready to be kind of closing it up. So I like to start with the bail first and then cut it so that there will be enough. So at least half a centimeter of space there to bend it under, so you can snip these long bits back. And then here's the bail tails, and then you bend them down and around. That's how I do it. So then now, you can see them. They're bent sharp sides in with that little part where the little half round was in the back. So then just take my pliers and just make sure that they're really tucked up, because I don't want anybody getting cut by that. So at this point, you could just cut all the tails off if you wanted, just to make, just cut them all short and just bend them down and you're actually done. But I'm going to do maybe a couple decorative things on this one because I've got some longer tails, but I'll pause it while I do that and then I'll show you that. Or I guess you might want to see how I do the decorative tail, so maybe I won't pause it. So these are, I don't need these. You don't need like every single one to be a decorative one. It might be a bit intense. So same thing, but a half a centimeter. Make sure there's enough. You gotta have enough space to grab. So then these guys, if you can see, they're nice and short. Just grab them and then just fold them in. So now they're folded, and then you could just make sure you use your needle nose, bend that all in, because those are sharp on the ends. This one that I wrapped to make kind of fancy, you could make a loop, or you could make a little swirly whatever. Like, you can do anything you like, really. You can make it as simple or as intricate as you like. This one I'm going to just attach it to the back so there's no sharp ends. Just be mindful of your sharp ends, because wire is sharp. But like I said, you can use your file to make it not sharp. So that I made a little loop there. I'll make this one kind of like a cutesy little heart on the front because it's rose quartz, so that's cute. So take another one of these and you can just bend it like that. Look how cute that looks. And then I just anchor it on the back. You can pick anywhere you like. See how I anchored this one? I just lift that wire up. So now there's a little space for me to grab onto. I make a little loop on the end, and then I just hook it on there like a fish hook. And then you can see there's a little tip that I grab, and I just twist it and pinch it, tuck it around so there's no sharps. And you push that back down so it's not going to hurt anybody when they put it on their neck. And guess what? Maybe I'll do one more swirl, but I think this is pretty much done. So you can cut these back to the half centimeter. Whoops. And if you're using real silver like I am, keep all your pieces, because you can melt them down and you can make things out of them. Silver is valuable, so don't throw that away. If you wanted to make a little swirl or a little spiral, just a little bend in the end, hook. So there's a little loop that I made, and I would use my nylon pliers at this point so I don't make any scratches. And you can just, you bend it on itself. So there's one bend. So yeah, making a little spiral design. And I think that would look very cute in this little spot. You can put it however you like, but I'm gonna put it in the front so it's kind of in front of the heart, so it looks like a spiral heart. That's kind of cute. So don't forget about these sharp guys. You're gonna grab the tips, fold them and twist them, tuck them in, so now their sharps are right up against the bail. Then you're not gonna get hurt. So at this point I would take my finger and just kind of rub everywhere, make sure somebody's going to wear this on the neck. There's nothing sharp. All your ends are tucked away. You might like to take your nylon pliers and just make a nice tight, make sure it's not going to slide around. See, it's kind of sliding in the front here, so I'm going to make it a little tighter. Just cinch it up nice and tight. So there we go. Then you want to just kind of give it a really good wiggle. Make sure the stone's not going to fall out. If you feel it wiggling, that's not good. You don't want it to fall out. So just adjust your 4 grabbers, your 4 of these guys. So 4 fronts and 4 backs accordingly so that it will hold. But if you did follow that and you thought, wow, now I know how to do it. It is actually really fun and rewarding, and you can do a lot of nice things with your stones that you create. So I hope that you enjoyed that, and I hope it wasn't too long, but I wanted to show you the steps. So there you go, that's it. That necklace, I'm going to sell it on my Etsy page.